Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. So, here's a weird thing. The Wildstorm Nightmare on Elm Street comics are actually pretty damn good. There's a loose ongoing story running through 8 issues, with a few arcs in the book that explore some different possibilities for the series that hadn't really been tried before. I get the impression that there were some plans for future stuff down the road, but sadly the line was cancelled, with the strategy then to just do mini-series afterwards that, as far as I can tell, never materialized aside for the 2 Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash series. I actually legitimately recommended the books, and I would talk about them in greater detail, but a certain jackass in my supply room said he was gonna do them, so look out for that, I guess. But yeah, it basically corrects all the points I've covered. Most of the characters are likable, the unlikable ones get killed, characters aren't stupid, there are some original ideas suggested in them that would make for great movies if expanded, and the artwork is pretty good throughout all of them. So what is it that I'm talking about today then? Well, as a sampler of Wildstorm's overall quality, they did release a one-shot after the series was cancelled. It's not bad at all. Honestly, my confusion about it is just why this in between the ongoing and Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. Was it meant to be the start of an anthology covering other New Line Cinema properties? Would we have had a double feature of Critters and Elf? Actually, I kinda wanna see that now. But in the meantime, let's dig into New Line Cinema's Tales of Horror #1 and close out our 3-year look at the man of our dreams.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Life out, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he's a man punch, wears a birdie hat. Linkara, he has a magic gun. Where'd he purchase that? Linkara, coins, robots, Amazons and trucks. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
The cover is pretty basic, nothing particularly exciting about it, just a big picture of Freddy Krueger and of Leatherface. Yeah, the thing is that this book actually has 2 stories in it. One for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and one for Nightmare on Elm Street. Normally I'd just focus on the Nightmare story, but hey, I'm probably never gonna cover Texas Chainsaw Massacre comics on the show, since I have 0 interest in that franchise, so I might as well do it now. And thus we open with The Texas Chainsaw Salesman. Well hey, it's about time Leatherface got himself a job and stopped being such a freeloader. The story is set in the Remakes universe, so we see a salesman is driving around at night approaching the Hewitt home. You need luck to be a chainsaw salesman in Texas. It's a big state, and not everyone wants or needs that kind of hardware. These days, all the chainsaw-wielding serial killers are out on the East Coast. I knew a chainer once who couldn't take the pressure and turned a product on himself. Quentin Tarantino's Death of a Salesman. Fortunately, it was a Washington Deluxe model with a 3-point anti-vibration system and a neat fail-safe deadman switch. The chainer still ended up dead, but it could have been a lot worse. For the guy who had to identity him, that is. Man, just imagine how bad it was for the guy who had to identify him, too. Sometimes I wonder, is there such a thing as luck? Or is luck something you make? Well, it's pretty clear it's not made with chainsaws at the very least. The salesman, named Toby Harris, knocks on the door of a mobile home and is answered by the character Henrietta Hewitt from the remake. Mind you, I've never seen the remake, so I'm guessing here based on character descriptions I've read, but it sounds about right. She tells him to leave and that she can't help him before he introduces himself. We don't have any need for chainsaws around here. Really? I mean, I know remakes sometimes stray from the source material, but that's a bit much, isn't it? He keeps trying to sell it to her, but her mother, known only as the Tea Lady according to Wikipedia, comes out and offers him some kebabs. It's home cured, a special recipe. You won't have tasted nothing like it. It ain't like that Soylent Green crap, this stuff's fresh. He makes a deal to try some of the meat if they'll let him pitch the chainsaw to them, which Dude, it's two older women living in a mobile home in the middle of the night. What makes you think you'll be able to sell a chainsaw to them? Anyway, they still say they're not interested. Nearby, though, is Leatherface cutting someone. Toby hears the whir of the chainsaw, to his confusion, since they told him they don't use chainsaws. That'll be Thomas! Thomas? Our cousin. He don't show his face much on account of his bad skin. I would say that this comic is the greatest in the world if the twist was that it was actually Invader Zim. Henrietta claims that the noise wasn't a chainsaw, but a very screechy violin. Here with an editorial reply to this franchise's reputation and that particular noise, Emily Latella.
What's all this fuss I keep hearing about violins on television?
Like, that was really your first explanation? A violin? Not even like, oh, we're testing a car motor or something? Two noises that are pretty distinctly not similar? Toby still recognizes it as a chainsaw, a particular outdated model at that, but Henrietta just keeps trying to shoo him off. Once alone, Toby heads to the house and knocks at the door, hoping to talk to Thomas directly, but then hears the clock strike midnight on the other side. Okay, maybe I just don't understand the culture of door-to-door salesmen of the time period, but who the hell goes out at midnight to sell stuff? Realizing how late it's gotten, he calls out to Thomas and says he'll try again some other time since he promised his wife he'd be home that morning. As such, before Leatherface can answer the door, he heads back to his car and drives off. But like I said, you need luck to be a chainsaw salesman in Texas, and some nights, your luck is just plain out. Ah well, at least I got some classical music to listen to on the ride home. And thus we move on to the Nightmare on Elm Street story, as a naked woman runs through some school hallways. Man, the original version of Britney Spears' Baby One More Time was just downright risque. Ever have one of those dreams where you show up at school naked? No, but you ever have a dream where you see yourself standing in sort of sun god robes on a pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at you? Why am I the only person who has that dream? It's a common stress dream. Courtney LaFave has them all the time, but this is the first one in which someone's tried to kill her. She still finds it preferable to being both naked and needing to take a test, though. And thus we see Freddy dressed as the lunch server. Hello, Courtney! Time to find out what's in the mystery meat. Surprise! It's Spam! Just a lot of Spam. I need to finish my GED and get the hell out of this job. Glad to see that Freddy has returned to his true passion, cooking.
You take your eggs, a 1, a 2, a 3, you get some flour, a little sugar, don't forget the butter.
Running from him, she ends up in the gym, where a bunch of cheerleaders are doing the Freddy rhyme, and they all have his face. And the pom-poms are demon faces. Horrifying, yes, but that just makes me wonder if the pom-poms are also considered cheerleaders. Or do they have a torturous existence where they're shaking around constantly? She manages to wake up, only to see Freddy waiting for her in the real world too. Freddy kills her, but she pulls off his hat in the process, revealing it to be some random dude. Freddy's actually observing this in Dreamland and is naturally a bit confused and pissed about this. Later, that same guy returns to the Springwood Motel. Mr. Emerson, you've had the privacy placard on your door the entire time you've been here. Don't you want maid service? Oh no, thank you. I prefer to clean the room myself. Those chemical cleansers bother my sinuses, you know. Dude, you can do that, but the truth is that in a motel like this, doesn't matter how many bottles of bleach and other cleaners you pour onto the sheets, it'll never be enough to get them clean again. When he falls asleep, Freddy is waiting for him. All right, you little pissant! Before I gut you, tell me who you are, and what the hell gives you the right to infringe on my trademark? You think I'm kidding? Wait till you hear about what I did to Sharp Hand Joe! The man introduces himself as Otis Emerson, Freddy's biggest fan. He's lived in Springwood since he was a kid, and even Freddy remembers him. Sure, fat little sociopath. Like to dissect the neighbor's pets and light things on fire. Admittedly, it got a little iffy when you screwed up the order of those two things. Otis says that there are lots of others who know about Freddy and idolize him. He spent the last few years perfecting his craft as a murderer and would like to help. Freddy, however, says he's a solo act and prepares to kill him, but Otis had a plan for this. He says that Freddy's murderous tendencies depend on people not knowing much about him. Unless I type in a command to stop it once each day, scans of all these articles, along with my explanation of who you are and what you do, will be emailed to exactly 104 media outlets. Somebody'll run it, if only for its sheer strangeness. And if people can't trust a creepypasta posted on an anime news site, who can they trust? However, he argues that the people of Springwood will take it seriously and they'll all move out, meaning he'll have no victims. You know, unless Springwood has like millions of people living in it, I think Freddy is already gonna start running out of victims soon. Freddy is pissed, but Otis makes the pitch to him. Please, Mr. Krueger, I hate to have to upset you. Let me suggest a mutually beneficial arrangement. I'll be your agent in the waking world. You have to admit, it could be useful to be able to get to certain people when they think they're beyond your reach.
Ugh, fine, but don't expect any 401k, and you only get paid in tips.
Freddy begrudgingly accepts the deal, but wants a show of good faith.
There's some punk kid at 722 Maple Street, been reading occult books. He thinks he can exorcise me. He's been awake for 11 days on meth.
It's that combination of drugs and extreme sleep deprivation that makes him such a danger to Freddy. He tells Otis to take care of the kid, and they've got a deal. As he wakes up, Otis contemplates all this. Oh man, this is so cool. Otis Emerson, the man who haunts your dreams. No, wait, the living nightmare. Yeah, that kicks ass. Freddy, however, is not impressed.
Give me a f***ing break. Just saying, Springwood Slasher had alliteration, and man of your dreams is a play on a popular phrase. Put a little effort into it, man.
Remembering that Otis said he had fans, Freddy starts searching the dreams of other would-be serial killers.
He's right. There's one in every town. Just have to find him. Let's see what the kids are dreaming about tonight.
Okay, might be a bit of a plot hole. If Freddy can reach out beyond Springwood, what does it matter if people move out of it? In any event, he finds a kid dreaming about being a school shooter and appears to him, weirdly enough, in his new nightmare outfit. Dude, I totally know who you are! I worship you! Please don't kill me! I'm your biggest
fan, I know! A lot of that going around. This is why I don't go to conventions anymore. Well, that and because nobody buys my quote t-shirts. Come on! Welcome to Primetime, bitch, is a classic! What kind of f***ed up world is this, anyway?
I am increasingly asking myself that every day, Fred. Freddy makes an offer to the kid.
This scenario shows the right attitude, but it's boring, prosaic. That's the problem with you kids today. No originality. How'd you like for me to teach you what terror really is?
Well, thanks, but I've already read Marvel. The kid accepts, asking what he has to do. We cut back to Otis, who has finished killing his target and goes to sleep.
Well, Otis, is it done?
Oh, you bet, Freddy. I feel I can call you that now. I think we have that kind of relationship.
Oh, good. I'll call you Jackass. I feel we have that kind of a relationship.
Freddy says that killing the kid did help him out, except when Otis kills someone, Freddy's not able to consume their soul, so he's pissed off, transforming into a giant snake. Now who's being unoriginal, Fred? Freddy says he refuses to be anybody else's bitch and that he had the kid take care of Otis's files.
I got a new sidekick now! Kinda reminds me of you, back when you were in a more Nielsen-friendly demographic.
Typical of any long-running series, Freddy introduces a younger, hipper character to try to attract a new audience.
He wiped all your files and canceled your commands. Also, your internet search history? Wow, dude. I mean, I'm me, and even I think you're messed up. Remember all those animals you dissected when you were just a budding little sociopath taking your first shaky steps down serial killer road? That's how I started too. And thinking about it made me nostalgic.
Now he's gonna wallow in self-pity about how kids these days don't torture small animals like they used to in the good old days. Times change, Fred. Get over it. And so he kills Otis, showing off the corpse to the kid. Said kid confirms that he destroyed all the evidence about Freddy's existence, save for a certain copy left behind. However, because Freddy's, well, Freddy, he attacks the kid too. because he's kind of an asshole. In the real world, a bunch of cops are investigating Otis's motel room, where he lays disemboweled on the bed. The physical evidence the kid left behind connects Otis to killings from the last 25 years. Plus, he's dressed up like Freddy. I figure we got ourselves a copycat. I went to school with this guy. He was a crazy little even then. It all makes sense now. He idolized Krueger, started killing kids to pick up where he left off, and somehow got away with it for all these years, till the guilt got to him and he offed himself. Yep, no holes in that logic at all. I'm starting to understand how you guys dropped the ball so badly on Freddy's arrest and prosecution. And so our comic ends with the cops saying that it's a great day for Springwood, that people will finally feel safe going to sleep in their town again. While Freddy's laughing from the computer screen. You just know that if Nightmare on Elm Street sequels had continued to direct-to-video, there'd have been one about Freddy going online or something. Anyway, this comic is actually pretty damn good. Like I've said, Wildstorm's Nightmare on Elm Street comics are pretty good overall, and this is no exception. Hell, even the Texas Chainsaw short story was fairly decent. Neither are any great works of art, but they tell fairly original stories utilizing the settings and characters presented. I suggested 2 years ago that a human agent for Freddy seemed like a neat idea, but this story takes that premise and shows why Freddy probably wouldn't be on board with it. And hell, it's consistent with how the character was in Freddy vs. Jason. He's an egotist. He wants the kills for himself. You'd think someone as narcissistic as him would love having fans and followers, but he doesn't care. He wants people afraid of him, not liking him. The artwork is really good, and despite some minor plot hiccups here and there, the story is solid and the dream stuff nicely imaginative. Kudos to ending this series on a high note. Next time, we celebrate the show's anniversary with another Clone Saga book, but not featuring the Scarlet Spider. And after all of this, I hope you all sleep a little more peacefully until then.
Oh hell, man. All these days we gotta fix that portal. I feel like I got kicked by 5 mules at once.
Good to see you too, man.
Yeah, so what's so damn important you had to drag my ass all the way over to your universe?
I got a letter recently. You ever hear of something called the Contest of Champions?
Oh, congratulations, man.
So, this is legit? This is a thing?
Oh, hell yeah. I'm surprised you haven't got that invite before. What they up to, something like 950 or something?
1049th according to the invitation.
Well then, they are outside space and time.
Look, dude, I have no idea what the hell this is.
You don't? Well, that surprises me even more. Sure, it's not like every reality out there watches it, but with all that interdimensional tech you got...
What the hell is it?
Okay, long time ago, there was this race called the Timberlands. And over time, they ascended to a higher plane of existence. Got the whole package, godlike powers, master of space and time, worshipped as gods, whole 9 yards. And after they explored the limits of what their grand power over all existence could do, they got bored. Having all that power was boring to them. And so they came up with a way to keep themselves entertained. The Contest of Champions. They invite champions from a bunch of parallel universes, have them duke it out over a prize, and they get to watch it all and broadcast of anyone who wants to see it. It's a big sporting event, like a wrestling match or something. People put bets on the champions, and they have interviews and speculation and analysis of the fights. It's incredible.
So what? I'm supposed to wrestle a bunch of people?
Maybe. You see, that's the fun part. To keep it interesting, every match is different. You're randomly assigned to fight against a different competitor, and one of them two gets to choose what the actual battle's gonna be.
Seriously? That means it might just be a friggin' thumb war.
Well, yeah, and stuff like that's actually happened. You know, I saw an arm wrestle match once, 10 minutes, just back and forth. See, there are rules to it. While one of them gets to choose the match, they both gotta agree on the general idea of how things are gonna work. There's gotta be a reasonable chance that either one of them could win.
How do they determine that?
Tamlin's figure it out. Nice part about being all-powerful? Pretty easy to tell if someone's got a snowball's chance in hell of winning. Best part, though? Nobody's allowed to die. Get stabbed in the heart, Tamlin's fix you right up.
That's neat and all, but why the hell would I care about participating?
The prize, man! The prize!
What is the prize?
Well, I don't know what it is this time, but every contest has a different prize to it. Something powerful and dangerous. Well, when I was in it, the prize was a device that allowed time manipulation. You can bet your ass I want to get my hands on that. It's gonna help deal with the government on my world a hell of a lot quicker.
You were in one?
Yep, I got 4th place even. Got taken down by some bandit. Made us fight in the jungle with a bunch of traps that he set up. Joke's on him, though. He got taken out in his next battle against the guy that made him play a board game. What's wrong?
A lot has happened since you were last here. I'm not feeling particularly like a champion right now.
Well, hell, at least see what the prize is.
Okay, mystery dude, what exactly is the prize for this contest of champions?
The prize, should you emerge victorious, is an object known as the Infinity Gauntlet. Within each of its gems contains an aspect of the universe. Wielding all the gems in this gauntlet allows the wearer near absolute power. This variation on the design is based on a universe where only 5 of the gems exist, but its power is still as limitless.
Well, hot damn, they never skimp on these things.
The friggin' Infinity Gauntlet? Why would godlike beings hand over prizes like this?
'Cause they can. That's what makes a contest so prestigious and famous. After all, champions aren't necessarily good guys. They're just the ones best suited for defending a universe. Well, that might mean they're an oppressive dictator or a pacifist with superior mental abilities. Every universe got unique needs.
Seems like it'd give you an unfair advantage the next time you participated.
Well, no worries there. You only get to participate more than once if you don't win first place.
This whole thing seems like a trap, frankly. Find someone who's a potential danger, entice them with ultimate power, and then get rid of them when they're done.
Nah, after I lost a wager round to find out who did win, and I tried to steal the prize from him. What? I was trying to free my world, dang it. That thing was too good to give up without a fight. Yeah, that guy was ready for me when I encountered him again. Fortunately, he didn't use that device to turn me into dust in the wind or something. It's too well defended. Too well fortified. Just gave up. He didn't want to use that thing, he just wanted to make sure no one else could use it.
And that's what I'm gonna do here.
Pardon?
The Infinity Gauntlet is too dangerous to let it fall into the wrong hands. Alright, dude, I formally accept your invitation to participate in this tournament.
Welcome, Linkara, to the Contest of Champions.
Oh, hold on, man, you're not ready for
Preliminary round begins now. Your opponent is Empira. Battlefield has been selected as Linkara's.
Preliminary round?
Well, that's what I was trying to tell you, man. Before you start things proper, you gotta fight.